Hello, Internetians. My name is Josh Player, and welcome to my first discussion Twitter-style video that I got the idea from Owen and Matt. We have a question that I posted on Twitter a couple days ago, and we're going to run through the responses for the first time. We're going to talk about it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And if you do, let me know, and tell me if there's any other kind of discussion video you would like me to post out on Twitter, which you can follow me here. You can see the tagline. Follow me on Twitter. It's also in the description below, and you can see when I tweet these. But be warned, because I also tweet a lot of anime. So, this is going to be a draft style discussion. I have not actually seen any of the responses. I actually had this entire thing muted so I could see these for the first time. But the draft league question was, what is something you think should be banned or unbanned in draft league? If it's a tier other than standard nat decks, then please specify, because otherwise that becomes really, really weird. If you're telling me that Blaziken without speed boost should be banned, and it's like, no it shouldn't, but you're talking about low tier, etc. Mine, of course, I said Pult and Galar decks. I'm tired of it, and I think BBL is a really good example of that. It should be moved up to Ubers. Because something like Matt O'Shea's team, where he had Kieran Black with Dragon Dance, and a Solgaleo, and a Dragapult, and like, that should not be a thing. So, we're going to dive into these responses today. And of course, let me know what you think, and let me know what you think of my opinions. These are going to be my opinions, obviously. They're going to be the opinions of the people who of course replied, but what I say is my opinions only. You're free to disagree, and if you do disagree, let me know in the comments. So, without further ado, let us get into it. Seems our first response will be Brian, and regarding let me actually move this so I can see it better. Oh yeah, and if you want to know when I'm recording this, well, it's the day of the invasion. I've seen Luca name a legit thesis on this, on why we should unban Zamazenta from a strict draft format, which is all I play. We played around one season while unbanning Naganadel, Darkrai, Genesect, and Deoxys D. We kept Darkrai and Deoxys legal. Could make an argument for Genesect, maybe. Yes, I have seen the thesis on Zamazenta crowned being unbanned. So Lux, like I said, my friend Lux Sands has wrote a legit thesis on this. I'm sure you'll see as you go down, but it's not as good as people make it. It's still like a good mon, and it would still be like top tier in the format. But what holds it really, really back is the fact that you don't get an item. You know, any damage, unless you run rest, is permanent on you. You can't leftovers, you can't recover. And all the stats are good, but it's still, like, 128 speed is still really good, but there's obviously so many mons faster than it. As you go on, it can be broken through by good breakers, etc. There's, like, a lot of reasons why it's not broken, but it's just really, really good. But other ones, Deoxys D, 100%. At this point, no one should have Deoxys defense banned. Like, it's fine. It's no better than something like Mew, which, as a defensive, just come in, recover, be fast, and be a wall, and take hits, etc. Keeping Darkrai legal. Now, I also see, I see it down here. Deoxys speed. I'll go ahead and hit Deoxys speed. Same thing. Should not be banned. Like, it's fast. It's fun. Yeah. But, like, it's not that bulky. It's not bulky enough to, like, matter. Sure, you could do, like, what I mentioned with Pheromosa when I had it in BBL and just run max defense and still be fine. But it's fine. Like, that speed is not so overwhelming. That's broken. Now, if I had more attack or special attack, that'd be different, because 180 speed coming off like a real good attack is nuts, but it has 95 base attack, so like, and special attack, so like, it's not broken. Darkrai, on the other hand, so I see this as a running theme, right? I see Brian saying it. I see Henry saying it. I'm sure I'll see it further down. Listen, guys. Darkrai being unbanned because it does not have Dark Void anymore. I get if Brian's saying it and Henry's saying it. I understand that it's UTL that's doing it. No. No, 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 no. 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 Way back before DGBA really blew up, I was in a season, and they unbanned it. No nasty plot, no sleep moves. And this, again, this was back, like, seasons and seasons ago. So this was, like, earlier Gen 7, I believe. Before people really realized that Magearna should not be allowed in any sense or variation. Like, no. So that was out there, too. But I ended up getting Darkrai myself. No nasty plot. No sleep moves. I also got Mega Alakazam. Like, it was a fun team. I remember that. I had made finals. Darkrai, Mega Alakazam, Scolipede, with a 3 that I immediately remember. I think I had some more hazard options. Guys, Darkrai still is, like, ridiculously strong. Like, ridiculously, really, really stupid strong. And fast. And it still gets Calm Mind. It still gets SD. It still can run a myriad of sets, and everyone's just like, oh, it's this Frailmon because it has to... It's this super Frailmon because you see it running like Sash or whatever in... Come on, reconnect. I ain't got all time. All day. Because it always has to run like Sash in Ubers, right? Guys, it's 70, 90, 90. That's frail by Uber standards, but that's not frail by, like, OU standards. It's not great. It's not bulky, but it's fine for an offensive Pokemon at 135, 125 that gets access to Calm Mind, so you can run, like, you know, a bulky set. And unless you're banning... Obviously, when I say this, I'm taking into account that you're banning Nasty Plot. If you're allowing Nasty Plot Darkrai, what is wrong with you? Like, what? It gets a myriad of support moves, of offensive moves to back up Calm Mind. It can run physical sets, which 90 isn't the greatest, but you never know, the matchup could be there. Like, this I didn't know. That's funny as fuck. But, like, Calm Mind at +1 at 125 base speed. Like, yeah, it could be revenged by a Scarfer, but that's... like, the whole argument that I say. Like, I love saying the Garchomp argument, where you can just revenge it with a Scarfer. But it's still, like, it's still a threat when it's on in the field and in your face. It's still going to kill something. Like we could just go down the list. But, like, there's so many things. It should not have all these support moves, all these offensive moves, access to Calm Mind. OCM is ridiculous. You could Hypnosis something. If you really want to run... No. No. Please get this blasphemy out of my face. I'm 100% with my man Cody here. No. Darkrai is way too dumb. I promise you. It is way too dumb. It's so brainless. Dark is already like a really, really nice spammable offensive typing. Because the only thing they resisted are fighting, which are usually frail or like not able to take many, many repeated hits. Which Darkrai has Psychic for. Fairy, which it gets Sludge Bomb for. And can eventually break through. Now, Fairy types, obviously, are very common, and you always have a check to it. But it's not that hard to beat down Fairy types and eventually get rid of them. And if you think that's true, or if you think that's not true, Hydreigon gets drafted in almost every draft that there is, because people believe they can beat down the Fairies. Like, it's not an uncommon thing. What else was this Dark? Dark, Fighting, and Fairy. So other Dark types. Other than Weavile, this is like the fastest Dark type. I'm pretty sure. I need National Dex. Ashgren. Oh, I need National Dex AG. Dark. Yeah, it's literally just Ashgren is the only faster Dark type. And then Weavile Speed ties it. So, like, you can just Focus Blast it. Like, in general, it cannot be a thing. I get that maybe Darkrai didn't do too well that season, but I promise y'all, if you're playing it well, it's going to absolutely obliterate. Alright, moving on. So we got Ian here. Get Pult out of here. That thing is super dumb. Been on the receiving end of it, and the mon is just absurd in draft. In terms of unban to anyone unbanning either DOS or DOD, I implore you to test them. DOD is perfectly fair, and DOS, while strong, isn't broken. Yeah, so again, DOD and DOS, we're probably going to see them a lot because people love to talk about it. Really, really good mons. Really, really nice, fun mons. DOD is a really good wall. DOS, its speed is absurd and allows for a lot of creative builds and being able to do a lot of things like outspeeding Scarfers, stopping sweeps, setting up spikes, and Nasty Plot. While 95 special attack isn't too impressive, at +2, firing off Life Orb Psychics, that's pretty strong. But really good. Pult, like I said, he didn't specify, so I'm going to assume Nat Dex. In Nat Dex, I'm not as, like, ban this thing as I normally am, but still, like, I'm not going to argue against anyone who says that it needs ban. Like, it is so ridiculous of a Pokemon. 142 base speed, meaning the only things that you can outspeed it with are Scarfers, Mega Alakazam, Zeraora, Mega Aerodactyl, Electrode, Pheromosa if it's unbanned, Ninja, stuff like that. There's not a lot of good stuff that can outspeed it. So if it gets a DD up, your only option is to out bulk it, which can be a real interesting problem. It resists a good amount of priority in Aqua Jet, in Mach Punch. I think that's the only common ones. It's neutral to Bullet Punch. It's weak to Ice Shard and Sucker Punch, but Sucker Punch is not something that I find as reliable, especially against something like Pult, where it can just wisp you and then take the hit anyway. And it can run. It has the option to run Berry, so it can run like Color Berry if it wants to avoid Sucker Punch, stuff like that. And Pult is not frail. Like, Pult's pretty bulky. Like, if you get really creative, just like with the DOS argument, you can just run max bulk and you can outspeed a good portion of someone's team uninvested. So, like, it has the options. Specs is ridiculous, although only 100 base special attack is kind of the only reason why I, like, is the only argument I would hear against, like, not banning it. It's just it's 100 base special attack. Yeah, but it's always modest. So it feels like it's 115, right? Because 328 and 329 is 115 not boosting nature. Why do I know that? I'm pretty sure that's it, because 329 plus 32 equals 361. Yeah, so it feels like 115, which still isn't, like, amazing, but it is when it's coming off, like, that much speed. Shadow Ball's really, really spammable. Draco Meteor can be really spammable. Gets U-turn, access to Dragon Dance, Dragon Darts, disable. And, like, its checks aren't always the greatest. Like, people always use, like, Mana Buzz to check it. And, like, ask Matt O'Shea, that's not a check. Matt O'Shea ran Banded Adamant Dragapult, and Dragon Darts 2 KO'd Mana Buzz. So, like, Pult is definitely, I think, something you're going to start seeing banned every now and then. It's already being banned in Team Tours, because in 8-mon format, hell no. No. It's not, it's too much for 8-mon format. Moving on. We've got my, yep. Veps is saying, Pult enters Shifu from Wi-Fi. Hell yeah. I'm not as big on, like, Urshifu single strike. Because everyone, like, I'm part of the people that just, like, run a fairy. Or just, like, be smart when you run a fairy. I've very rarely had trouble with Urshifu single strike. Maybe that's just my luck. Maybe that's just my playstyle. And always either bringing a fairy or bringing something similar enough that I can stop it. Bringing a lure, etc. I much prefer the option. And allow more borderline mons like Lando, I was Sheer Force. In Wi-Fi, I don't think it's that bad right now. I think we have enough checks around Wi-Fi that everyone can reliably have ways to handle it. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it unbanned. But I definitely think that would be like round 1 by pick 3 mon. I much prefer the first option, banning Pult and Urshifu, so drafting round 1 would be less predictable and open up more discussion to one mons, then stand out. Yeah, I mean, if you've ever played in a Wi-Fi league, you already know what happens. You know pick 1 goes Dragapult, you know pick 2 goes Urshifu, and pick 3 usually goes Torn, pick 4 is usually something like Mew, or, I think it's always just, like, those 4. I think those 4 are, like, you always see go immediately. You will also see, Chomp go quickly after, stuff like that. But Pult and Urshifu have got to go. Like, it's not even fun anymore. Like, you just see whoever gets the first 2, and you're like, alright, well, those 2 are off the board, and then you move on. It happens every single season of every single league. It's not fun, and also they're just, like, way too annoying. Like, the limited decks, the just sheer unpredictability of Pult being ridiculous, Urshifu still being really strong. Of course, depending on the fairy you actually get. I think the most trouble I ever had with Urshifu is when I had Galarian Weezing as my fairy, and like it took 40 from banded Wicked Blow. Forgot the name. It took 40 from banded Wicked Blow, so I only switched in once. I think I won that game though, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, Pult and Urshifu going in Wi-Fi is definitely something I can see happening very soon. Good opinion, Vepsis. Personally, the fun of Draft League is the variety of teams and viability of low-tier options. I would love to see there be more strict bans on higher-tier options. Dragapult and Urshifu Spitting will strike. Possibly Mewtwo and or new ways to incentivize new Lure 2 pickups. Alright, I'm not one to ban Mew, but like, I mean, if you want to ban Mew, you go right the hell ahead. I would not, like, argue. I love Mew. Anyone who knows me knows I am a very, very, very firm believer of Mew being the best Pokemon in Draft League. But that's because I've done so well with it in numerous draft leagues across time and come up with numerous sets that have always supported the team well or swept teams. I don't think I'd still be saying this if Mew didn't get something like Dragon Dance and then all those extra moves it got in Sword and Shield. Dragon Dance made it ridiculous and have even more viability, and having stuff like Triple Axle is always really, really nice. And just more moves in general. It's so good. I love Mew. Banning Mew. I mean, if you're going to take out Dragapult and Urshifu, I mean, why not? I wouldn't really be against banning Mew. The only reason I don't want to ban Mew is just because in some instances, depending on team match or team build, it becomes more predictable what you have to run if you're not building well. And that ended up with me in BBL. I had to run bulky Mew a lot because I didn't support it well enough. But other than that, like, Mew is, like, ridiculous. Mew is so dumb. If you're not fully prepared for Dragon Dance Mew, like, it's gonna mess you up. And that's just because of his wide coverage. Like, Triple Axle is so stupid. It gets high-powered moves like Close Combat, Earthquake, Flare Blitz, Power Whip. Like, your team almost guarantee will have 3 types that obliterate it if put together. You can run Dragon Dance, run that, and then you're messed up. It's bulky enough to take hits, stuff like that. But being so weak to Dragon Dance Mew, again, opens the door that maybe you already know that it's going to be that set. So I could see it either way. But again, Mew's amazing. And if you want to ban it, I'm not going to be against it. But again, Dragapult and Urshifu have got to go. Free Zamazenta! Yeah! I have seen a major league, in OLT unban Zamazenta. And it did really, really well. I think that was season 10 when I was in Oblivion. But it did really, really well. It definitely showed that it's worth, like, top 3 pick if it gets unbanned because of how it's still really bulky. Fighting Steel is an incredible offensive typing as we've seen with Mega Lucario, or not Mega Lucario, but Lucario and Cobalion. It can be a really, really just nice pivot. It can switch in. Rest Sleep Talk is very, very viable. And there's not a lot of mons that generally want to take Fighting plus Steel coverage. It's why when you see Lucario SDing, it always just runs Extreme Speed for priority, or Mach Punch, or Bullet Punch for priority, because Fighting Steel is usually enough. And one set that I gave Kurt when he had it in BBL was Rest Sleep Talk Close Combat Behemoth Bash. absolutely insane. Really, really good. Basically 1v1'd the opponent's almost entire team. So, Wrestly Talk Zamazenta is 100% a good set. It would be very, very nice, and I want to see it. But that's me saying that. Actually, I think OLT did do Galar that time. Now that I think about it. So, yeah, it could be freed in Galar So, maybe in a next Wi-Fi league, we can actually see Zamazenta be freed, and we can see just what it can be capable of. Can I actually find... Ooh, do I want to do that over here? Not really. Let me see if I can find... Can I just type in Zamazenta? No, of course not. Discord. I know where to easily find it. I know how to quickly find this thesis that Lux wrote. It's pinned. There we go. Why Zamazenta should be unbanned in standard draft. An essay. Yeah. 128 base speed, credible natural bulk, attack stat is workable at 130. Resist stealth rock 2 times, toxic spikes. It's really just spikes that really hit you. Good cover. Oh, is this the negatives? No, we hear the rest or wish because nothing more than a glorified Mega Aggron as bulk. Lacks its coverage. Again, I mean, to be fair, close combat Behemoth Bash is really all you need for the most part. There is a couple other options, but for the most part, you don't really need it. You can count coverage for 63% with both stabs and 2 coverage moves. That's fair. Lack of utility, lack of items, and then a bunch of calcs that he did. Just, good lord, just a bunch of calcs that he did. And final word, blah, blah, blah. And this was last year. This was December 6, 2020. It should definitely, it needs to be released in that decks, right? But in Galar decks, I want to see it. I do think that it was a little bit, going crazy when it was released in Galar decks for OLT. So I do want to see that, tested a little bit before we just be yeah, it needs to, just let it happen. But in that decks, just free Zamazenta, guys. Just let it happen. It's a fun mon. It's not that. It's not broken. It's not even. I was gonna say it's not that broken. It's not even broken in general. Unless you're just inherently super weak to fighting plus steel, you'll be fine. Some of these calcs are mons that don't even resist it, right? Versus Mew, it barely to a KO 252 HP. This is versus Mew. This is versus, and then there's some offensive calcs Cinderace still 2 KOs it, even though it's at +1 if it's max HP. Garchomp 2 KO, it gets 2 KO'd really well, but these are also kind of positives in my opinion. With just it can take these hits really well, but they're not going to be killing back. Behemoth Bash doesn't Oko Dragapult. Gliscor beats it 1v1 very, very easily. Even Ice Fang barely does any damage. Etc. You can keep going down these calcs and you'll see, it's fine. Moving down to Jesse 504, Free Zamo. Free Zama, Lando I, or Ban Pult Shifu. I think it'd go one or the other. I think it's interesting, right? I do want to see a Wi-Fi league where we do this exact thing. Free Zama, Free Lando, Ban Pult, and Urshifu. Even if it creates the same mindset, Zama's going to go round, pick 1, and Lando's going to go pick 2, that's fine. It's what we've been dealing with, but we at least get to test to see whether these two mons could, be good. It could create a lot of interesting discussions on the two mons, and then maybe we could see what happens if we ban all 4 or allow all 4, right? Very interesting stuff. Definitely agree on these two. I think we're going to see this come up a lot. Very much agree. Magic Blades. I actually think since Z is no longer in the game, that Naganadel is great, but not broken tier 1. Oh, my good friend Magic. Cannot spam Draco as easily anymore. I cannot certainly still sweep, but it's lost a lot of damage it needs to break. I'm going to disagree with this one. I think Naganadel is really, really strong. Beast Boost, I think, if it didn't have Beast Boost, it'd be one thing. Now, maybe without Nasty Plot, I could see this. But yeah, as long as it still has Nasty Plot, I still think it's very easy able to break through. Nasty Plot plus Life Orb will shatter whatever you think it won't. While you say you can't spam Draco as easily, that's only on spec sets. On Life Orb, it's very easy to spam Draco, because whatever switch in is not going to want to take the Sludge Wave, the Fire Blast afterwards. It gets really good utility and stuff like U-Turn and Toxic Spikes. I still think it's a really good mon. I don't think it's unban worthy. I mean, even UTL, as we saw earlier, who allowed Darkrai, even they said no, hell no to Naganadel. Definitely not something I think should be released just yet. Maybe we'll see. Again, if you want to go without Nasty Plot, then I could probably see it. It has its advantages. It would stop without Nasty Plot, then it's like forced to run like Life Orb breaking sets and like rely on Beast Boost or like Scarf Respect sets, like a Nihilego. But the problem with that is its stabs are both immune by another type, so as long as you play smart, you could easily just beat it. Stuff like that. But yeah, I would not allow Naganadel just yet. Without restrictions, I feel like Kieran Black without D-Dance, Scale Shot should be unbanned without restrictions. I feel like Lando Eye. So Lando Eye in standard Nat decks, I think should just be a thing. I don't think that should be a discussion anymore. I think we should just allow it. I think My League still has a ban, but I think that's only because we have some very nice Lando Eye players. No, actually we don't, because I used it last season. And then it didn't do too well, because that was on my brand. Don't worry about it. Kieran Black, though. No Scale Shot, no D-Dance. That's an interesting discussion, because it still gets one other thing that really pushes it, and it's why people like it, and that's Icicle Spear. So, thinking on that for a second, is it worth banning just because it has Icicle Spear? And I kind of want to still say yes, but I do think that it's worth testing at the very least. But I don't like the idea of it. I think Icicle Spear coming off 170 base attack is so stupid. Get enough hits, and that's just ridiculous damage. Life Orb Roost sets are just so good because of how well it heals off. There's not really any good checks to it other than, I guess, like really bulky steals. Because like you can't check it with a water type because of Fusion Bolt, because of Roost. What are you gonna do to back to it? Sub Roost sets are really good. But I could see it because we do have DD regular Kyurem allowed, and it has like a lot of the same advantages. It's just 130, and you never see that banned. So without D-Dance or Scale Shot, I guess yeah, you could see it tested. I'd be willing to see it tested and see how well it does, and maybe go off from that. But it's just so scary to think about that 170 base attack being able to roost off anything. And I don't think it has too many good physical moves to be able to really break through Steel type. But that could be like there's plenty of other mons that have to deal with like fat Steel types getting in their way. Woo! Offensive fairies, other offensive dragons, stuff like that. Definitely can see that. Allow level 85 Mega Metagross. Alright, sure, I'll bite. Why not? Let me bite. Mega Metagross. Expected worse. So this is just, I think this is speed time with Rotom Heat. And then its attack is like around 115 kind of era. So that's definitely interesting. I don't know why. That's very specific. That is very specific. But honestly, this wouldn't be bad. Like, when I think of what you're going to ban or unban, I think, oh, what's going to be, like, I guess some people have like 19, 19, 18. Wherever you think your top point value is, that's where you're gonna unban is gonna be. This would be like 16 points, if that. It's straight. It would still have like Tough Claw boosted, but like it's slow as piss. Like Mew would outspeed it, and just like 1v1 it. Pedon with only HP water. Liv, shut the fuck up. You get on my nerves. I don't understand. Maybe that's some inside joke that I don't know. All right. Ban Zygarde because it makes me sad. Zygarde 50% is not broken at all in that deck's for and really any format. It has its way around the checks, but it still has like plenty of checks. Hard disagree, but I don't know, Luke. I don't know what happened to you. I feel like there's a story behind this. I feel like there's a video where you're like, you have like 7 Tangrowths and like some Sylveons and Curum Black with Icicle Spear, and you got 6-0'd by Zygarde. I don't know, but respect. Speak your mind. Unban Mega Latios in standard Nat decks because it's funny to use. I see him banned in too many leagues. I've seen him unbanned in UTL. The Mega Latios are very, very interesting. I like the way that UTL does it. Allowing Mega Latios or Latias top tier points. But if you draft it, then Latios or Latias, it's, Unmega form gets taken off the board, which I really, really like. I don't know if they're necessarily like that ban worthy. Just because that allow worthy. Mega Latios probably. Like, it's not the worst mon ever. It's not the greatest mon ever. Like, it's fast, it's strong. It can be bulky. But it's not so overwhelming. There's so many mons that can easily pressure it, take it on, beat it down. I'd be willing to test Mega Latios and standard Nat decks. And I'm glad that they specifically say, I'm going to say he, because it says Mr. Morels. I feel like that's me assuming, though. Can I see, okay. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad that they say Mega Latios specifically, because if they said both Mega Latios, I'd be like, Mega Latios is way too dumb. Mega Latios, I definitely could see. We've seen stronger Psychic types allowed. So it wouldn't be just, completely out there to allow it. Yeah, retweet that. 100%. Oh, I haven't been liking anything. Oh, whatever. Thanks, guys, for, thanks, guys, for all the replies, by the way. I didn't like them, and like I said, this is my first time seeing them all. Mega Latios, 100%, yeah. Allow that. Free Zama! Let's go! Free Zamazenta! Alright, so I've talked about it enough, but I think Zamazenta is 100% the way to go. I will link this, by the way, if anyone wants to actually read Lux's thesis, 7 pages on why it should be allowed. I'll link this in the description. I'm sure Lux would love for people to read it and agree with it, and if you disagree with it, he will say that you're bad and stinky and dumb and then block you. Haha. He won't actually do that. But I agree with Liv, agree with Owen, agree with, I think it was Ian who said this, and everyone else who has said this, free Zama Zenta. 100% in standard Nat decks. In Galar decks, test it out maybe once, but I still think it should be allowed. I think Liv's going to give us the same opinion we've been seeing. Ban Dragapult, unban Landorus, 100%. I'm glad people are agreeing with me, this shit's gotta go. This shit is just so dumb to see. I think, again, Matt's team just, proved it so well, you gotta get rid of it. Alright. I wanna see what this other reply is. Free Ashgren. I don't know, guys. I'm biased on this one. I'm really biased on this one. And in both seasons that I've had it, I've really liked it, and it's done really, really well for me. Both were S tier. One was an S tier and one was an Uber League. The big argument you could really see what is there's no Z moves, and until it really gets it off, it's not that crazy. But guys, once you get that Ashcan off, I promise you, you don't want that. You don't want it in your life. 153 and 132 as its special attacking stats, and physical can be good. Life Orb is so good. The thing that like would immediately make me like not think that anymore is the fact that when I first had it, I had Z moves allowed, so I always had a way to get Ashgren form off. But I'm not seeing the Ashgren. Like, Ashgren I think is a bit too much. I think it's ridiculously way too strong. Water Dark by itself is really, really good offensive typing, especially when it has coverage like Ice Beam and Grass Knot. That's generally all it'll ever need. It has great support. If you don't think that it doesn't need more than Water Dark, just see what it runs on the Showdown ladder. It runs Hydro Pump, Dark Pulse, Water Shuriken, and then usually Spikes or U-Turn. Maybe Ice Beam, but you really don't see that. It doesn't need much else. It's so strong. It's so good. I promise you. If you haven't been seeing it do well, you haven't been having really good Ashgren players play with it. I promise this thing is so bad. Please don't. Please do not. Unban Mega Ray, but you can't run physical moves. L. Redikai. L. That is 180, 150 special attack and speed. Dropping Dracos on your head. Get the hell out of my sight. No. N. Banned. Get out of my face. Celeste. From personal experience, Land Rise with Sheaf Force is probably the most questionable ban. It's too good, but definitely not good as like Pull, which I think is easily bannable depending on what else is legal. Yep. We're going to keep, like I said, we're probably going to keep seeing this. Very good opinions. Very much agree. Lando needs allowed. Pult needs to go. Unban most cut moves aside from Hidden Power. Hidden Power should be gone, but stuff like Signal Beam and Return. I can see this. Return the cut moves, but leave Hidden Power gone. Because like Hidden Power is like really like it's become more interesting. Hidden Power made it a lot harder for me to like say you need to like it made me not want to use 4 times weakness mons, because like you're just gonna run Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Fire into a KO me, and it's really predictable. But I've really grown to like the 4 times weakness mons. I love Ferrothorn. I love using Gliscor and Lando so much more now, just because like Hidden Power isn't a thing, and you never had to worry about that. Sure, kind of shat on Electrics, and like they can't do shit anymore. But I mean, get over it. Sometimes you gotta take collateral damage. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice the few to take care of the many. Signal Beam I think should be back. Return. Maybe not Return, because I don't want to deal with broken Megalopony. But that's just me being an asshole. But hard agree. Let's see some Nat decks with cut moves allowed. Unban Skyman, that shit is dog. I'm kind of curious as to whether or not he's also saying, like, allow Seed Flare and Air Slash. Can I actually ask him? Is he awake? He's not awake. Can't ask. Rip. Alright, so with Seed Flare and Air Slash, 100% no. Fuck that noise. Just drop your Spadef and then just kill you. 100% no. No. I ran it without Seed Flare and without Air Slash, and it was like, okay. It was fine. It was good. I liked it. Don't know if I like the fact that I paid 19 points for it. That was also when, like, heavy duty boots were banned, so like, definitely not allow with Seed Flare and Air Slash. One or the other. 19 points. Without both. And without boots. Like 16? 15? But yeah. Other than that, no. Don't allow with both. Would I love to see it. Unban. No, not without restriction. Not without restriction. One of those moves has to go. One of them has to go. Serene Grace, just allowing it to always happen, is so annoying, and it's very easy to like create some scummy Thunderwave spam and just Air Slash everything down. Like, it can happen. I know you don't want to think it can happen, but it can. But yeah, get rid of one of them, and I'd be perfectly fine with it. Air Slash being allowed is kind of scary, but like you can't just like have always dropping -2 Spadef with the kind of coverage it has and just like allowing it to break through whatever. And then they're like the only real thing that stops their Saps per month. Woo! But other than that, yeah, I'm all for it. Alright, so we finished off on another Darkrai. Again, I still say it, like, I promise you it's a lot better than you think. I promise you it's so strong. I promise you it's so ridiculously good. It can't have Nasty Plot, and even still, Calm Mind is so scary. I'd be willing to test it, but I wouldn't like the results. I know it's easily checkable in some cases, because I know like everyone likes to like their Choice Scarf. At least I do. I like my Choice Scarf fighting with U-turn, and that always checks it. But I promise you guys, you were definitely like, oh, you were 100% overlooking a lot of stuff. I'd be willing to test it again with that Nasty Plot, because mine was early Gen 7. Maybe things have changed. But, like, you guys gotta understand, this is a very, very strong Mon. This is very, very scary of a Pokemon with all the coverage it needs to do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. Well, that's it. That's everyone. Thank you, everyone who replied. This was actually a lot of fun. Again, let me know who retweeted, because I don't know so many people. Huh. I guess it's like fans of the other greater community once you got into the people I don't know. I know PokeFan, I think. I've seen his name before. Regardless, had a lot of fun with this. Thank you all so much for all the replies and everything. Tell me what you want to see me talk about in the next one, and I very well might. And, of course, follow me on Twitter so you can see when I do tweet these things out. And I will hopefully have one going out every week until I run out of topics or find something else to record. But this is going to be one of my 3 videos of the week. Thank you guys for joining. And I will look forward to your feedback. I look forward to you saying how wrong I am about many of these things that I probably sparked a lot of discussion.
You're wrong about everything.
Shut the fuck up!
You're wrong about everything.
Bitch! Get out of my sight! Anyone loyal who stuck around to the end of the video, I hope you enjoyed that moment. Anyway, have a good day. Adios.